So we've mentioned few times before that you are in Bangladesh and then you are in Canada now. So obviously there was this big relocation that happened. You moved with your family. How was it for you? And then overall, how was this relocation journey? Anything that you want to share with anybody who is in the same journey?
Uh, okay, so the first thing is like I actually initially I was hired through a recruiting company, so I started remotely. Then after 3 months, I actually relocated. So I started on May 2021 remotely. Then I actually get myself into Canada in September 2021. So the first thing that you would need whenever you're moving out from the country is like that's coming from my own experience as well. So most of the time, whenever you will be getting hired to Canadian company and you are having a relocation option, you would be getting a closed work permit. So for closed work permit, you will have your LMI approved. So make sure you have the LMI approved after you start, because that is required whenever you are submitting your visa application. So then you will go to your IRCC website. Whenever you log in, there would be a lot of questions regarding yourselves, your condition, how many people that you'll be bringing in. And for it was for me, my wife, and my family. So those are the information you have to put in, and there should be a document list that you need to submit. Typically, those documents list suggest your like personal information, your resume, your job offer letter, your LMI approved letter, your previous work experience, and those kind of things. Your police clearance certificate as well, uh, because like you have to be very clean on terms of like legal issues and everything. So nothing very odd like outside of the thing, but you have to have those things as well. Sometimes like people think about the educational certificate and everything. I just want to be very clear about these things so that people who are seeing like get this information. You don't need your educational certificates to apply for the work visa. It's you who is getting the job offer after you passing all the interviews level. So you're already been a talented resource who will be coming in. So but if you have your educational certificates, then that's okay. I'm emphasizing on this point because I didn't have my certificates drawn from the university. So and that didn't hamper me in any of the processes. So then you collect all those information, you upload it into the portal, and then there should be a fee. You have to be careful, like if this company that is been hiring would be sponsoring you on all of those things. So you might get your payments as reimbursed as well. And then you submit the application. If you have your LMI approved, then you would go through the GTS global talent stream where you have like 2 weeks of processing. So in these 2 weeks, you will be expected to have your biometrics done, your upfront medical done, and all of those things. After your biometric gets passed, your upfront medical passed, and everything, you would be requested to submit your passport to a local VFS center, and then your passport will get stamped, and after that like you'll be eligible to get into Canada. And next you'll buy your air tickets and everything, you'll fly in and here you'll be settled. So yeah.
Awesome, amazing. So you got a closed work permit with the company that you first started working remotely from Bangladesh, and then the company had the LMIA, and then you moved with your wife and your children to Canada. In this case, you received a closed work permit, and I just wanted to make a mention that the spouse received an open work permit. So the spouse, even though the person who's moving on a closed work permit is bound with the organization they are moving with, the spouse, however, can work with any employer across the country, can find any job across the country. And in case anything goes wrong, or in case anything goes south with the company that one has moved with, you can still find employment with another company who is ready to sponsor your work permit. And so a lot of people ask me this question, like, they are obviously worried, like, what if something goes wrong? So what happens then? So just putting it out there for those people that there is actually nothing to worry about here. Canada has dearth of technical talent. Canada wants good, strong people to move here. And if anything happens from either of the parties, like there can be layoffs. There could be a layoff that happens from the employer side, or maybe the employee does not like working with the team, or feels that this was a wrong decision made. So in either of those cases, you can find another employer who is ready to sponsor your work permit. So then you are on a closed work permit with that particular organization, and after a stipulated period of time, you then apply for your permanent residence. And once you have your PR, you can work for any employer across the country. Was that right, Raju?
Yeah, that's right. So I would say like the talents who have been like aspiring to come to Canada, like if you get a close work permit, I would say like don't think, just get into it, because like the closed work permit is like actually telling you to be bound to work with that employer, but you don't get deported, you don't get like kicked out of the country, like if you, even if you lose job or something goes wrong. We know like this post pandemic period, like many of the layoffs are happening, and we are seeing like all the news is everywhere. And yeah, like some of the companies are doing that, some of the companies have been like unfortunate to do that, and you might be without job even if you move after a few days, like it might happen. But don't think, there are companies who have been willing to give you like a sponsorship as well. But even if you they don't, you have to struggle for some time, I know that, but that's unfortunate. Like no one wants to put that through his families and everything. But you have to be patient, you have to trust yourself, because once you have gotten here, you have something in yourself, that's why you have become here. So you will find another people who, it's a matter of time that you, and after 1 year uh, you would get your Canada experience, you would be going to the PR application, and whenever you are submitting the PR application with the correct language level test and work experience, you will having like Canada experience class application, which is much faster than the express entry or the PNP program that Canada has in inviting outside people to Canada. So I would say just whenever you get chance, just jump in, um, come here, bite your time. And I just don't say like, I don't want to put this in a like negative information, bite your time on say, just try to work diligently that you are supposed to do. If something happens, just don't get frustrated, reach out to the people, reach out to networks and everything, and I think like you'll be fine. So
Yes, exactly. And there are sometimes there are things not in one's control, right? So, but you made a very good point there, that moving through express entry is actually a longer process, because then you are dependent on the score, you are dependent on the drawing, what's that word, the lottery system. Then as you move up in the age, your points also start to reduce. And I mean, if you're like what, 35 or above, you're definitely you barely have any points to move.
yeah, like every year you will lose 5 points for your age. Okay. And just want to be clear, in Canada Experience Chaos, you will also be taken through lotteries and everything, but your point would be a bit higher, because you will get the PNP application where you'd get like 600 points if you applied. So even if you have like 450 kind of thing, then with that 600 point boost, you would have like 1,000 points out of 1,200, which makes you a very appealing case for getting like your permanent residencies and everything. So like I just, I'm not an expert on those issue, I just like read and got into those things. But you have to be, what I'm trying to portray is, even if it's closed work permit, it's not the end of the world. If you are aspire, if you want to work in a big industry with a lot of talented minds, then I would say like, just don't think, jump in. If you don't have any urgencies or any priorities back home, I would say like it would be a fantastic journey for you. Because I, in the last 9 months or like 10 months I have been here, like I have a fantastic journey in terms of my family. My kids have started the schools and everything, and my uh, elder kids has like promoted to grade 1 and everything. So they have a fantastic culture growing in. I have a fantastic time working with the people I love, with the technologies and everything. So I trust me, you will have a fantastic time in here.
Yes, and the school is free too, Raju, right? I mean, the
Yeah,
kids are going, the public schools are all free. Your
yeah,
parents do not have to spend a penny on their kids' education until university. So once the child goes to university, that is when you have to spend a chunk of money. But then prior to that, nothing at all, zero. And healthcare is free too. That is also, I think, a big part. That helps people live a peaceful life in Canada. You know that you don't have to save like we are used to saving back in India and Bangladesh, right? I mean, what if, so you keep saving money for that what if, but then here the government takes care of you and you get a lot of health benefits from your employer as well. For example, dental, which is not covered by the state, provincial, or federal government. So that is something that your employer covers for you because that is very expensive here. So yeah, a lot of good healthcare benefits that Canada offers. So yeah, that also makes Canada a very good country to be in. And here in Canada, people move from all different parts of the world, and then they all live together. You have people from Latin American countries, you have people like us from South Asian countries, then from China, from Russia, from everywhere, and then we live together. It's nice. It's a warm country, and it welcomes everybody from different cultures, and everybody, they have their own culture. They follow their own cultures, traditions. They keep it intact. That further goes into the next generation. But definitely a good country to be in. Awesome. Well, Raju, the last question I have for you is what would be the three most important tips that you would have for people who want to move to Canada or are in the process, interviewing with companies here, trying to get that LMIA approval and getting that work permit. So what tips would you have for them?
okay. So yeah, so the first thing I would say, like, whenever you're searching for jobs, you're trying to migrate to another country, like, there is a slight urgency of like getting the first job in. uh, I understand the urgency, but I would definitely suggest you to choose your company very wisely, because that would help you in the long run. Also, keep your peace in mind. Okay. uh, every company is great, but also not every company is great. Okay. So you have to keep in mind like which company that you are getting in. So I would say, like, I use LinkedIn Premium for this one, so you'd get all the tons of analytics that LinkedIn would give you. You have like your Glassdoor profile where you can see and see what people write about that company, about that culture, about the benefits and everything. So I would say, like, choose your company very wisely, and also choose your interview process wisely, because like, in many of the companies you will be given your choice, like, um, whether you want a online coding exam or you want to like meet a programmer, meet a person in the team. And most of the time people take like all the online programming, because they say like, okay, I've been doing this ds, I've been doing this algorithm things. But in some cases I would try to discourage this one, because that's a 0 1 answer kind of thing. You don't pass, you don't pass, and there is no way that you can show your creativity on that one. But even if you talk with a person, that you can at least, even if you fail in the worst case, you would learn like what are the things that they might ask you, right? So there is a like human touch in it. So I would definitely suggest, like, whenever I have the option, like, I always choose the human person to go through it, because that gives me like better chance of proving myself. Like, even if I don't uh, feel like the problem I'm doing. So from my experience, when I, like, few months back, when I was interviewing, like, I had a problem. The result should be like around 3:30. My result comes around like 7:50, and I couldn't believe me. I was there for 20 minutes. I couldn't like decrease the number. After that, me and that guy actually go deep dive, and we found like that's a Java library function issue. So that's why like it's not coming for the smaller numbers, it actually works for the big numbers. But even if it's a coding world, it's an online interview, you'd get failed because the number is way off. But that person actually gave me pass, uh, allow me to entered into the second period because they know that person knew that I have done everything right in my coding. I have made him understand how all my approaches are. So that way, like, you have a chance to prove yourself, like, that you are worthy. And second thing is, like, many of the companies will give you like assignment, and then you would submit those things. uh, I I I recently have a like bad experience that they took it, and after 2 weeks or 3 weeks they didn't like reply me back, and it was so annoying because like whenever you are going through an assignment, though they said like it should not take like more than 4 and 5 hours, but whenever you try to do it correctly, it takes like more than 10 to 12 hours. So you do it and then you submit it, and then they start ghosting you. That is not a good feeling. So read about it because when I read it, the ghosting part in Glassdoor, I felt like why I was so stupid because I didn't I didn't interview myself the company. So it's a like reciprocal thing. You are getting hired to a company, that's okay, but you also need to interview that company as well. That is that company right for you or not? So I would tell you like choose your company wisely. Uh, so this is the number one. Second one would be like communication, communication, communication. Like I understand the importance of it now, but sometimes like when I thinking back, I would tell myself like how stupid I was like to say those and those things, because now I know, because every part of the interview process you go through are designed for a single specific like problem. So whenever you are giving phone interview, one sets of thing. Whenever you are pair programming, there is one sets of thing. And whenever your system design, the whole focus is one thing. So in terms of communication, I will also tell you, try to demonstrate the best, the thing you do best in each of the portion. Okay. So this is more of a like if you play chess, those kind of thing, you have to play your strategy very well. So in phone interview, you have a sets of rule, and I don't go outside of that rule, even if I don't force to. So that's why like you have to stick to your plan. In the pair programming interview, you have to make sure like your problem gets solved. So you have a very solution focused. In the pair programming interview, your propensity should be to make the people understand like how easy you are whenever you are talking technical. And the third, like the system design interview would be like to show them how like longer game or longer version you think about in terms of the system that you have. And in the leadership, it's like how easy and fluent you are talking to, because some of the time I feel like the leaders I'm coming, I have met like many leaders who told me like the more technical the persons are, the more arrogant they are, the more uh, like difficult to them get communicated themselves. Like you might be a very technical person, but even if you're arrogant, you don't get hired. Like that's the bottom line. So those last part is like how well you get managed through your teams, how well you navigate through the problem, how well you like how well you express your conflict, how well you express your happiness through that in those kind of things. And the last thing would be like read technical books, write some blogs and everything. Believe me, it might sound very cliches and everything. If you write something, I trust me, like that will improve your email writing, that will improve your like response and everything. And also like you would have a portfolio where you can show like, okay, so this is the people who is a technical genius who writes all the blog, and it's a great way to mentor people. So these are the three tips that I have. I think like it's more than three. So yeah, like these are the tips I have, and try to follow those things and try to be very prepared and very organized when it comes to interviews, because preparation and being structured, being very timed in every places, like take you much further than you think you could be. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, Raju, thank you so much for that. I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from the tips that you give and from the other information that you gave, which you experienced yourself. So, which is why I think it is so important to hear stories from somebody who have done it themselves, because then they are real life stories. And you are an excellent example of somebody who relocated has got success in this new country, is working with a great company, and is in a senior role. The family feels settled, the kids are going to school, so definitely good things are happening. And it only happens to people who take that risk, who take that leap of faith, who are okay leaving the comfort of their country, their home, and call a new country their home now. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for chatting with me today. And again, well, I'll see you soon in the next video.